they do want to act against Europeans who hold views that they might not agree with regarding America and the rest of the world. So it is a very cynical maneuver, I'm afraid.
Sarah, now, tourists travelling to the US from the UK and other countries could be made to provide a 5-year social media history in order to enter the country. That's according to a new proposal. Here's Donald Trump's response when asked if this would damage tourism.
We just want people to come over here and safe. We want safety, we want security, we want to make sure we're not letting the wrong people come into our country. We're getting rid of a lot of bad ones from jails, from mental institutions, drug dealers, and we're getting a lot of bad people, murderers.
Right, a lot of bad people and murderers. How do you wheedle them out? You look at their social media, seems to be the thinking. Well, let's speak now to Sarah Baxter, Director of the Mary Colvin Centre for International Reporting. Sarah, good afternoon.
Hello, Alexis.
Hi. Should we take this plan over handing over social media history seriously, or is this just another one of those big, bold statements coming out of the White House that we should kind of ignore?
I think we should take everything that Donald Trump says seriously and literally, because he does have a tendency to do what he says he's going to do. And, honestly, that's one of the reasons why he's quite popular, although his popularity is plunging. But, these threats should not be taken lightly. By the way, can I just say, I love that Chrissy Hynde song. It's we're about 2,000 miles away here in the US from the UK. And I've always thought of it as a very short distance that we can rattle across between our countries. And, there's nothing between us. We do a lot of sharing and, we've always been allies. And now, even UK citizens are going to be subjected to these absurd checks. We don't know for sure it's happening. It's out for consultation. The hospitality industry is going to have a say. They're very unhappy, as you can imagine, because these things are very off-putting to visitors. As you pointed out, it's not exactly going to weed out criminals by looking at whether you said something a bit unkind about Donald Trump or had a voice about what's happening to the Palestinians. Those kind of tweets have been held against people. I think it is quite a sinister move. And in the Cold War, you had to declare if you'd ever been a communist or whatever. But now you have to provide your history for officials. At least then you had to be a paying member of a party. Now it's like officials are going to decide using some cack-handed, God knows what, AI system to pore through people's postings to see if there's anything they don't like in it. We're not being told what would count as disqualifying. And by the way, he really is stopping people coming to the US. Tourism is massively down. And just in one small example, I wanted a Turkish citizen to come to the Colvin Centre this term, in the autumn. And she found that even for a tourist visa, let alone an actual visa where you can sort of lecture, but it was very easy to get, to try and get that from Istanbul was going to take 2 years for an appointment.
Gosh.
Now, this is nuts. Turkey's not on the ESTA waiver system, so it's slightly different. But it's effectively turning America into Fortress America and just slamming the door shut on entrance.
Is there any awareness, Sarah, of the rather stunning hypocrisy that this piece of news has come out, or this proposal, we should say, has come out in the same week that the US security strategy has said that censorship was one of the key threats to Europe's survival? Are these people aware at all of that these two statements just don't go well together? If you're saying that Europe has got an issue with censorship and freedom of speech, whilst at the same time saying, well, we're not going to let in people if we're looking at their 5-year social media comments, and if they've said something that we don't like, we just won't have them in the country.
I'm afraid, Alexis, that I view it as entirely cynical, and that certainly people like J.D. Vance know very well what they're doing. The vice president who's made a big deal about Europe not being free. And we don't ask visitors for their social media histories, and nor should we. I think it is quite a sinister move. And what we're talking about here is wanting to censor people for views that you don't like. And in Britain and in Europe, they want to censor the Americans. This administration, anyway, doesn't like the fact that some Europeans consider certain views unacceptable, i.e., it's trying to open the door to more far-right views. I mean, America's made it very clear, for example, it's very friendly now to the AfD, the extreme party in Germany. And, someone's coming over from the AfD to meet Republicans soon and be feted and all the rest. So they don't want Europeans to act against far-right extremism, but they do want to act against Europeans who hold views that they might not agree with regarding America and the rest of the world. So it is a very cynical maneuver, I'm afraid.
Sarah, what do you think's behind this rather change of tack for Donald Trump? Because Make America Great Again was very, some people critically would have said, isolationist, but it focused on American issues for Americans, domestic problems, stop meddling around in international issues and focus on how to make life better for Americans. And in this same security strategy document that we saw plans or suggestions, at least, of persuading 4 countries, Austria, Hungary, Italy and Poland, to leave the EU as part of the administration's plan to make Europe great again. On top of that, suggestions about a new C5 to sideline the existing G7, which would include America, China, India, Japan and Russia. Are we seeing Donald Trump distance himself, not just from the EU and Europe, but also from the UK? UK is not on that list.
Yeah, he is distancing himself from the UK. He's distancing himself from France, from Germany. We're all on that Esther waiver list. And yeah, he'd love to break up the European Union. He regards America as a sort of, he really wants to sort of square the world into 4 regions, and he thinks Russia's the big superpower, not Western Europe in that kind of European sphere. And that's very unfortunate. And he wants to do what he wants, what he likes in America's backyard, the old historic backyard of South America, Latin America, hence, the moves against Venezuela. So it's a world of great powers, and the countries that he considers small, he wants to stay that way. And he doesn't like the fact that the European Union has been trying to act as a sort of great power in itself. I mean, that was one of the sort of purposes of the European Union, in a way, to stop inter-country competition in Western Europe after, centuries of war, but also to turn it into an economic powerhouse that could rival China and America and all the rest. And so if he can undermine that, he will. I mean, what we're seeing is the breakup of the old post-Second World War order. And, maybe, that's what happens. Epochs change, history moves, but America is not so much isolationist as just we'll do what the hell we like, and under Trump, and alliances be damned. Now, not everyone shares his view, and actually he still has a lot of affection for England and Scotland, where his mother was born. So, Britain as a whole, he loves the royalty, so yeah. But I mean, we shouldn't be just on his sort of good boy list because he likes the royals.
Yeah.
We should be on the list because we're historic allies.
Sarah, thank you. Good to speak. Sarah Baxter there, Director of the Mary Colvin Centre for International Reporting.